Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're going to be discussing what actually happened in the season 5 finale, because none of you can agree.
What in the entire heck has just happened?
But to be fair to everyone, it wasn't fully explained in the episode, it just sort of happened and we all had to accept it, and I do think they are trying to save the proper explanation for next season to keep us all guessing, so I don't blame anyone for not fully understanding what happened. So in today's video we're going to be breaking it down, but for now we're going to ignore Lila. We'll talk about her in a different video.
That's so upsetting.
Okay, so up until Gabriel Babes, may he rest in peace, makes the wish, everyone is clear on what happens in the episode pretty much. But after the wish and kind of during the wish, not so much, and that's largely because, in my opinion, we don't actually hear what his wish is.
Lis dans mon cœur.
Es-tu prêt à sacrifier?
Lis dans mon âme.
And if I was Gimi, at that point I would have told him both his heart and soul are disgusting. However, in the next scene we see Natalie as well as this person who is either Emily or Emily, and both situations are possibly, so let's take a look at both of those scenarios. So before you start typing your comments though saying, Hayes, I've seen the leaked script, it says Adrian's mum. Yes, I know, I've seen it too, here it is. In the action it says the bodyguard serves Adrian's mum a drink, and then Adrian also says his mum gave him the rings, and there's also this design for this character which says it belongs to Emily. However, in the version of recreation that was aired, Adrian says,
Quand Ladybug me l'a confié, elle m'a expliqué comment mon père l'a aidé à vaincre Monarque.
Things change all the time, and it seems that whenever this version of the script was released, I don't know when it was written, they decided yes, it would be Emily, as it says in the script, but for whatever reason, they now decided that Ladybug was going to be the one to give the rings to Adrian. Now, there could be loads of different reasons for this, and one of them might be that when they wrote this, they decided it would be Emily, but changed their minds, either because they decided it would be Emily after all, or just because they wanted the viewer to guess and wait for next season, and a change like this from Mum to Ladybug isn't that big of a change, it's only one word. And as for the character design, Emily, you know, she's Emily's twin, they look exactly the same, and also wears more black than Emily, so this being Emily is completely plausible, even if the design it titled to once belonged to Emily, they could easily just use it for Emily since they look the same. So while these things point to it being Emily, I don't think it means for definite that it is Emily. So now that's cleared out the way, it seems that two things happen. So option one is that this is Emily indeed, and Gabriel Babes traded his life for hers, but in order for Natalie to be there and completely fine, she doesn't seem ill in the slightest anymore, and you know, she was like pretty much dead by the end of episode 25, sadly, I would assume her illness passed to someone else in the world. As Gimi explains with the beans and the strawberries, every action needs an opposite and equal reaction. I've seen a lot of people saying, oh, Gabriel Babes gave his heart for one and his soul for another, but again, as Gimi explains, it does not work like that. Gabriel can't give his one life for two. In order to save two people, he has to sacrifice two people. So himself and someone else. I've also seen people say, oh, he wished for those who had been hurt by the Peacock Miraculous to be okay, which would also include Colt, who I hope isn't back because he sounds absolutely awful, and presumably whoever created Kagami. But again, it has to be balanced. To save Emily, Natalie, Colt, and Kagami's creator, assuming they also use the broken Miraculous, because remember, we don't actually know when it got broken, 4 lives would have to be sacrificed. Gabriel cannot trade his one life for 4. 4 people would have to be sacrificed. In order for Natalie and Emily to be here, for both of them, 2 people have to be sacrificed. So if Gabriel takes Emily's place, then someone else has to be ill in place of Natalie. And option 2 is that this is Emily, therefore Gabriel Babes sacrificed himself for Natalie instead of Emily. And it does seem that right before the wish that Gabriel does finally accept Emily's wishes and decides to kind of reunite with her in death, which I kind of think is represented here, or maybe it's just a reference to the end of the first Shrek film.
Oh, hello there!
Marinette tells Gabriel that Adrian has moved on, and Emily mentions in her recording that Natalie can act as Adrian's mother and that Emily has also accepted her fate. It also makes sense that Emily would be there at the end since Felix is there, and while she's fine with her son going off to Paris whenever he feels like it, I do think it would be odd that Emily wouldn't come to Paris for this final end of the summer vacation pool party, especially if her sister is finally back. If this indeed is Emily and not Amelie, I would expect Amelie to be there as well, because her sister, who has been missing, presumed dead, for like over a whole year by this point, and, want to spend as much time with her as possible personally, you know what I mean? This scenario of only saving Natalie, of course, means that illness is passed to no one, but either way, both options are plausible because of how the script has been changed. Either this is Natalie and Amelie, and Gabriel sacrificed himself to save Natalie, or this is Emily and Natalie, and Gabriel Babe sacrificed himself for his wife, and the illness Natalie had has passed to someone else. Please remember what Gimi said: he cannot save both of them with his one life, nor can he reverse the damage of the Peacock Miraculous with his one life either. It does not work like that. So while I'm not sure which scenario is correct, those are the only two possible outcomes with the information we have right now. However, the other big question is, what does everyone actually remember? A lot of people are concerned that Adrian and Marinette have forgotten everything, but that doesn't seem to be the case. We know they're still dating, as we see them kiss a couple of times, and Gabriel Babes being Hulk Daddy, Shadow Daddy, and Monarch Daddy, may he rest in peace, still happen because the Akumas are talked about on the news. Furthermore, Marinette also talks about how she searched the murder basement. She found all the Miraculouses but the butterfly, as well as the twin rings. With the information we've been given in the episode, it seems that after the wish occurred and the universe was rewritten, that it picked up right where it left off, with Marinette in the basement, but with Gabriel now gone, and either Emily in his place, not that she says this, or Natalie upstairs now, miraculously. Completely better, depending which scenario is true. It's a little bit difficult to say for certain, since recreation takes place right at the start of the summer break, and the end of the episode right after the wish takes place on the final day of summer break. A quick Google search shows that summer vacation in France lasts for about 2 months, and we don't see any of that, but from the clues we have been given, it does seem that everyone remembers everything that happened during the past year, because remember, whilst it's been a while for everyone else, like 5 years or more, it's actually only been a year in the miraculous world, which, oh my god, most stressful year of all of their lives. I couldn't have handled it. I think part of the confusion around this is because the wish rewrites the universe, which a lot of people think that means it restarts the universe, which I do understand. However, I think it's more of destroyed and recreated from the moment of the wish rather than from the very beginning of time. But again, I think that also depends on what the wish is. So assuming that's the case, everyone remembers everything that happened. So Kagami, Felix, Alia and Luca all know Marinette is Ladybug, and Marinette, Natalie, Tomoe, Felix, Lila, and I also think Emily all know Gabriel Babes was Monarch Daddy, which I think is going to play into some other theory videos I have planned, because they're all going to be keeping this secret from Adrian. As for explaining where Emily has been all this time, I'm not 100% sure, because assuming this is her and not Amelie, no one mentions it in the episode. She's just back and, they all just kind of accept it. However, even though on her wiki it lists they had a funeral for her, this is never mentioned in the show, I believe, but she is referred to as missing several times, such as in the episodes Felix and Illusion. So her being missing and then being found is plausible, and they could just be like, oh, we had the funeral for, like, closure or something like that. Although I do think it's important to say as well, even though I'm fairly certain that, like, the rest of the cast of the show remembers absolutely everything from the previous year, I am going to be really interested that if this is Emily, to see what she remembers. Like, people who go missing, they still have memories for the time when they were missing. So what's she going to say? What's the explanation? Where she says she's going to have been? If this is Emily, I'm going to be very interested to hear what she has to say about her absence. So, like I said, I know I missed Lila out in this video, but we're going to talk about the Lila shenanigans in a different video. Right now, it seems most of you were confused about the wish and what everyone remembers. I hope this clears everything up for you. Like I said, I'm not actually sure if it is Amelie or Emily, but it seems that those are the only two possible scenarios. According to the rules set by Gimi, Gabriel cannot save 2 people with 1 life. If he wants to save 2 people, he has to sacrifice 2. Same way fixing the damaged Miraculous. If indeed that was his wish, it seems that 3, if not 4, maybe more people were affected by that. He would need to sacrifice the same amount of people. So I hope that clears it up a little bit for you, and we can all try and agree on something, and then we can all take votes. Do you think it's Emily? Do you think it's Emily? I really want it to be Emily just because of the drama it'll create, and I also just kind of want to see her as a character, but I do think it's equally as plausible to be Emily. So I'd love to know what you think of this, besties, and I'll see you in the next one.